Welcome to Twist Notes, where I summarize the most recent story updates on JP. This is a whole spoiler video. This isn't going to cover every single little detail in the updates, but I'm going to be hitting on what I think the most important things are story-wise, or things I think are just interesting. Also, just to remind people, I'm not fully fluent in Japanese, and while my reading skills are way better than my speaking and listening skills, I am not fluent. I could be wrong in these translations, or hell, even read into something wrong. That being said, here's what happened in Chapter 7, Parts 20 through 37. We open with Lilia asking Malleus to use the Diasomnia Lounge as the venue for his farewell party. Malleus obviously agrees, and Lilia gives him an invitation to the party. Malleus' Gao Gao Dragon-kun goes off, needing to be fed. I don't remember how they localized this, I don't care how they localized it. It's Gao Gao Dragon-kun, I don't know what to tell you. The guys talk about the toy. Apparently when Lilia first gave it to Malleus, he accidentally let it die and went to Lilia in a panic about it. Gao Gao has something like a real life cycle going on, kind of like with real Tamagotchis, I'm assuming. I was a little bit too young for Tamagotchis. And Lilia talks about, because you have such a short time with it, appreciating and cherishing the time you have together is like, you gotta, you know? And then we have blood accumulation. Literally right after that. Cannot believe that Gao Gao Dragon-kun is plot important. Anyway. So, we skip to the day of the party, and we get a spotlight on each of the dorms and the upperclassmen saying goodbye to Lilia. Riddle and Kate chat with Lilia. Kate and Lilia have been in the pop music club since their freshman year. And also, we get a really interesting thing starting to happen. A lot of the characters bring up the Spell Drive tournament back in October, and while yeah, I get it because Diasomnia had a pretty big hand in that chapter, it just struck me as really intriguing because a lot of people kept bringing it up. I don't know if this is just story stuff or if it's foreshadowing specifically, but I digress. Next, Leona and Ruggie show up. They talk for a little and then Leona wants to leave. As you do. I felt that, Leona. I felt that. Ruggie is pissed because he wants free food, and Lilia convinces Leona to stay longer. Although Ruggie could just stay by himself, but okay. And then Sebek is big mad because Leona being rude. Fair. Big fair. Malleus hasn't shown up to the party yet, and both Sebek and Silver are getting worried. They want to go look for him, but Lilia tells them it's not a big deal and they should stay and eat. Lilia, whether he truly means this or he's just saying it to calm down the retainers, is sure Malleus will come when he's ready. While being irritated as well within Sebek's wheelhouse, this is the beginning of both him and Silver starting to lose it emotionally. The Octa Trio is next to show up, and we actually get a better view of who's at the party. Even the staff has been invited to the party, and they show up, and although we don't see them yet, the freshmen are also at the party. But it was also really sweet to see all the staff there, you know? The Mostro Lounge provided catering for the party. New Mostro Lounge? Lore, I guess? Honestly, we get a lot of lore drops in this update, I was kind of surprised. We get a mention of Militia and Malleus' mother from Lilia. They were/are surprisingly stubborn, and they never listened to Lilia, apparently. God, if I had kids with Malleus, those kids would be doomed to being stubborn like both my parents doomed me to being sassy. Kaleem and Jamil are next. Kaleem is pretty torn up about Lilia leaving, and we either learn or it gets mentioned again that Kaleem joined the pop music club because of Lilia's unclean vocals. I think this had been previously mentioned in the game, but I cannot for the life of me remember where, so I don't know. Anyway, it gets brought up. The two gift Lilia a business card that has the number of an Azim concierge on it, so if Lilia ever visits the Scalding Sands, they can all meet up and Lilia can be fully taken care of. Yes, this is the part of Chapter 7 where I sobbed because Kaleem is so sweet. Silver comes up to Lilia and says he still doesn't know where Malleus is. Lilia, again, says it's fine, and Silver has an outburst saying it's not okay and he runs off to go look for Malleus. Yeah, we're just getting a lot of the feels. So many of the feels. And not of the twice variety. Vil and Rook come up to chat. Vil is, as you'll remember, aware of why Lilia's dropping out. Since Malleus fixed his age and magic issue thing in the last chapter, he asks why Malleus can't do that for Lilia. Lilia replies that it's just him getting old, like, for reals he's getting old, and he did a lot of reckless stuff as a young adult and old age is hitting him a bit early. We learn Lilia's 700 years old, which honestly, I thought he was in the thousands, so he's way younger than I thought he'd be. But Vil and Rook are shocked that he's that old, and they had assumed that he was also 18. Rook asks if Malleus is that old, and Lilia explains Dragon's life stages. He says he's older than Malleus, and for dragons, 200 is a baby, 500 is young adult, and 1000 is fully fledged adult. And for the record, Lilia's species lifespan is apparently like 1000 years old, so Malleus is more or less guaranteed to outlive Lilia, no matter what. However, we don't get a concrete age for Malleus. I would guess the 600s, but I honestly have no idea. We also get Sebek's grandpa's name. It's Bar, or Bar. I don't know, it's something. It's something weird. It's something weird. Let's just call him Ball. Stupid man think I'm fucking Polly. This is how we're getting through the chapter, by memeing. We jump over to Ignihide. Ordo wants Idia to go to the party with him because they were both invited. Idia is having an emotional breakdown because his gaming pal, whom we all know as Lilia, has quit gaming and Idia is legitimately torn up about it. Apparently this wasn't a casual gaming friendship, like they were very, very close, and Idia is incredibly hurt and crying. Ordo wants to try and track Crimson Muscle down, but Idia says no and tells Ordo he can go to the party on his own, and that's what Ordo ends up doing. He goes by himself. Silver is searching campus for Malleus and it's heavily snowing. He finds Malleus on Main Street near Maleficent's statue. Silver pleads with Malleus to come to the party, and Malleus is hesitant for a lot of reasons, but he specifically mentions not being sure what to give Lilia as a farewell present. Silver mentions how badly it's snowing and Malleus makes it stop. He's the cause of the huge snowstorm, and Silver also realizes this. Silver keeps pleading with Malleus to go to the party and eventually starts crying because he doesn't want his father to leave him. Lilia found Silver in the forest of Briar Valley and had no obligation to take him in and raise him, and Silver feels like he's never repaid Lilia back for that kindness, which is heartbreaking. You shouldn't have to pay your parents back for things, but things just hurt. Things just hurt. Once again, Gao Gao Dragon-kun chirps and there's an egg where the dragon should be. This makes Malleus think of the cycle of rebirth, and he gets a terrible idea. The sanity slippage begins. He decides to go back to the party and teleports both him and Silver. I should not have been so excited about learning Malleus can indeed teleport other people, but here we are. I was excited to learn that. Ordo arrives at the party and is met with Aduyu and Grim. Ordo explains why Idia's not there, and they chat about it. Jack and Epple, on the other hand, are chatting with Lilia. Briar Valley lore alert! Berry juice is a staple for celebrations, and although it's clear the first years aren't super fond of it, Lilia orders Sebek to go get more, and he gleefully agrees. Ordo goes over and chats with Lilia, and they talk about gaming. We don't get the reveal of Lilia being Crimson Muscle, but the vibe is very much Ordo wanting Lilia to be Idia's replacement goldfish of a gaming BFF, and Lilia is just kind of humoring him. Lilia comes over to chat with Yu for a bit. He's surprised that Malleus still isn't there since Yu's at the party, which... Lilia thanks them for befriending his tall emo son because a dad's got a dad. Yu gets a flash of Maleficent in their mind, flashback thingy, whatever you want to call it, and they get weak and dizzy. The other first years, minus Sebek, who's not back yet, are immediately worried and note that Yu is shaky and pale. They get Yu to sit down, and Ace... Oh my god, this was so sweet. I was squeeing so hard. He goes to Deuce and he's like, hey, Yu's not feeling good, let's say goodbye to Lilia and then dip. But the implication of taking Yu back to Ramshackle? I love Malayu, but god, I love me some good Aduyu, and I was feasting. Ace and Deuce let the others look after Yu while they talk to Lilia, and again, the Spell Drive tournament is brought up. Lilia asks the two boys for a favor and mentions how Sebek hasn't made any friends at all at Night Raven College. Ace is like, do you want us to befriend him? And in my opinion, yeah, that's kind of what Lilia was asking, but Lilia says no and just asks that if Sebek is stuck on something to give him a little nudge. Ace and Deuce talk about how off-putting and rude Sebek can be, and Lilia's like, yeah, that tracks. Sebek returns with the juice, all the freshmen and Lilia do a toast, and Lilia says he hopes Sebek can be friends with them. Sebek flatly refuses and says his only reason to be at Night Raven College is because of Malleus and he doesn't need friends. They disappoint him. Oh my god. The other freshmen are immediately and rightfully mad, with Ace immediately saying he doesn't want to be friends. Sebek is haughty and argues for a bit until Lilia gets on his case and is genuinely very irritated. Sebek backs down a little bit, but the damage is already done. None of them want to be his friend. And then Crowley shows up and asks to speak to Lilia for a moment. Crowley comes to say that the carriage has come to take Lilia away. Sebek begs him to stay for a moment longer because Malleus and Silver haven't returned. We get the lore bomb that Lilia had actually been invited 500 years ago and ignored the invitation until recently. Slay. Crowley is nice for once and says as long as the student is willing to learn, he'll accept them with open arms. I would like to believe he's being honest, but given how he calls the students idiots regularly and belittles them regularly, I don't know, but I would like to believe he's being nice for once. Malleus shows up like Maleficent at the christening, and Silver is back too. Lilia immediately notices he'd been crying. Silver, not Malleus. And then Malleus is like, I know what I'll give you as a farewell present. Lilia immediately knows something is wrong with Malleus, and Mal starts casting his spell. Ordo, who is just now in charge of overseeing blot levels for people, I guess, has an alarm that goes off and warns everyone that Malleus is in danger of overblotting. Crowley orders everyone to stop him. Lilia is straight up out of magic and can't do anything. He calls Malleus out for the spell, and they argue, and Malleus is furious and states he refuses to lose Lilia. Silver is ready to take Malleus down, while Sebek is very clearly emotionally distressed and begging Malleus to calm down. Malleus casts his unique Maho and immediately overblots. Thorns grow all over campus and Sage's Island, trapping everyone inside. He puts everyone in Deosomnia to sleep, and we get the sickest fucking cutscene ever. He states everyone is about to become heroes of their own fairy tale. He hums what I think is Once Upon a Dream, which also, let Kato Kazuki sing, let him sing, take him out of the singing dungeon now! For reals, he was so good in Nagayo Hibike! Let him sing, the man can sing, let him do it. But anyway, we get that cutscene, we get Malleus humming, and then we cut to the title screen, and that's where the update ends. This was just such a good update, oh my god. This had way more lore than I anticipated, and definitely lore that I was not expecting. I wasn't expecting Mostro Lounge lore, I wasn't expecting lore on Sebek's grandpa, I wasn't expecting concrete ages for Malleus and Lilia. Like, I figured we would find out eventually, but I just wasn't thinking now. I just wasn't figuring that. So we got a lot, honestly. And also, I was definitely not thinking we'd see Malleus overblot this early or even see his unique Maho. But yeah, this was our most recent update on JP. I am so excited yet terrified for the next part. I definitely have some speculations that I'll do a video about in a few days. Anyway, stay strong guys and take care of yourselves, and I'll see y'all later. Bye!